Hello friends, welcome to Programming Concepts. My name is Amit and this is part 80 of the ASP.NET Core MVC tutorial. In this video, we will learn how to use third-party logging providers and we will cover Serilog in this video. This is a continuation of part 79, Debug Logging Provider in ASP.NET Core MVC. So please watch it before proceeding to this one. I shared the link in the description. Let's go to Visual Studio. And this is the project which we are working with. Here you can see we already implement debug, console and event log. In our previous videos, we also taught you how to add a dependency in the controller. Let's go to the employee controller. Here you can see we have already injected the logger dependency. And if I scroll down, you can see I also put some dummy messages via the logger dependency. Alright, and if I run this program, you can see we get all these messages in the console and debug window, which we are getting via the inbuilt logging provider. But we want to use Serilog, which is a third-party logger. And why do we want to use Serilog? Because it is more powerful than the inbuilt ASP.NET Core logging provider and also write logs to files. Now, the very first step is to use NuGet package, which contains the code for Serilog. So stop the application, then go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager, manage NuGet packages for the solution. The first package we require is Serilog.aspnetcore. So click on Browse and search for Serilog.aspnetcore. Select and install the latest stable version. It will prompt you to accept and continue. Before moving forward, let me clarify that there are two ways we can configure Serilog. First via code and second via configuration file. Just like we did with the console logging provider. In this video, we will implement it via code for Serilog. Let's go to the program.cs class. Let me comment this code. Next, we have to use Serilog. So we have a static class called log from Serilog. Then it has a property called logger. So type log.logger. Here we are trying to create an instance of Serilogger because for the ASP.NET Core inbuilt logger, everything is done by Microsoft, or you can say by this ASP.NET Core framework. For Serilog, we have to write code, but do not worry, it will be super simple. So equal to new logger configuration. This logger configuration class has a method called createLogger. So press enter and then .createLogger. And that's it, our logger instance is ready. Next, let's quickly register this logger. So type builder. Just in case you don't know what builder is, it is used for building host applications. See, here we are creating a web application builder. Then .logging. So what does .logging do? Just in case, again, if you don't know, this property allows you to access the logging configuration of the builder. It provides method to configure logging providers. Then .services. This property gives you access to the service collection that holds registered services in the application. Then .add Serilog. This method is an extension method provided by Serilog's integration with ASP.NET Core. It is used to add Serilog as a logging provider to the application. When you call add Serilog, it configures Serilog as a logging provider and sets it up to receive log messages from the application. And that's it, we are ready. Let's run our application to check if we are getting logs in the console or not. So our application runs successfully. The application also loads in the browser as well, but there are no logs in the console. Can you guess why? Because we didn't tell our Serilogger where to write logs. How Serilog will know whether to write logs on console or files or somewhere else. Let's see how to write logs in the console. Let's stop our application. Next, let's chain one extension method called write_to.console. And that's it. Now this logger will print logs to our console. Let's run our application. And you can see we get lots of logs generated by Serilog. Lots of logs with slightly different color formatting compared to our previous videos where we use default logging providers. Next, you can also set the severity level. Let's stop the application and chain another method. So type .minimum_level.warning. Here we are telling Serilog to capture logs with a severity level greater than or equal to warning. Let's run and confirm. And we get the logs starting from severity level warnings. Alright, next let's see how to write logs in a file. This is also very simple to implement. Let's stop the application and type .write_to.file. And then we have to provide the file location. So use path : then let's say I want to save my file into D drive logs folder, and let's say my file name is myfirsttextlog.txt. And that's it. Let's run our application. The application runs successfully and we get logs in the console. Let's go to D drive logs folder. And here you can see we have myfirsttextlog.txt file created. Let's open this and we get the same logs as we have in our console. Let me delete this file. Next, let's say we want to logs to be displayed in JSON format. Let's stop the application and type comma, enter then formatter : new JSON formatter. And that's it. It will save our logs in JSON format. There are many other formatters available other than JSON format that we will discuss maybe in some other video if possible. For now, let's run our application. And let's go to the log location. And you can see a new file is created. Let me open this. And you can see we have logs in JSON format. Let me copy the first log, then paste it into JSON lint. Click on validate. And you can see we get all required details. Our message is available within message template. Now we are able to save messages to the file successfully. But there are many other scenarios that we need to cover to make sure this log file doesn't become a mess for our support team. And the first scenario is our file should be created on a daily basis. We don't want logs from months and years of data in a single log file. And to do this, we can use rolling interval. So type rolling interval : rolling interval.day. And you can see we have different options like minute, day, hours, years, and even infinite. Let me use day for demo purposes. You can choose day, which is generally most suitable. So this line will make sure you will get a new file after every day passes. Next, there is a possibility that we have to enable trace logging in case we are not able to identify the issue. In such cases, the size of files increases at a very rapid rate. And depending on your logs, it can go up to GB, and in worst case scenario, more than hundreds of GBs. We want logs, but we don't want a file that our laptop or server can't even open, right? For that, we can tell Serilog that if the size of the file goes beyond the specified limit, then create a new file. And to achieve this, we have two parameters. The first one is roll on file size limit, which tells Serilogs that we want a new file when the size limit is reached. So type roll on file size limit :true. Next, we also have to tell Serilog the maximum size of the file. For that, we have to use file size limit bytes. So type file size limit bytes : then 10 into 1024 into 1024 for 10 MB. Next, this logger can keep on generating files and may fill your hard drive. In that case, you have two options. First, you can tell Serilog, I only want n number of files. And if the number of files breaches that threshold, then delete older files. And to achieve this, you can use retained file count limit. So type retained file count limit : let's say 7. You can use any valid integer value for this. Along with that, you can also tell Serilog to delete logs files that are older than, let's say, 1 day or 1 week or 1 month. And to achieve this, you can use retained file time limit. So type retained file time limit, and it will accept a time span. So type time span dot from days 7. So it will delete files older than 7 days. Simple, extremely simple. Now, in many organizations, logging is quite intense and they want their logging to perform faster to avoid any performance issue to their application. Although the performance of Serilog is quite excellent, to take it to the next level, Serilog provide an option where you can inform Serilog that instead of writing logs as they come, write them in batches. As per current configuration, when Serilog gets a log, it will write it in the file. Serilog has an option where we can tell it to collect logs for some time, let's say for 1 minute, and then write them to the file. And to achieve this, first we need to use the property buffered. So type buffered and set it to true. This line enables buffered logging, improves performance by batching writes. Next, type flush to disk interval : time span dot from seconds, let's say 1. This line is the interval at which the buffer is written to the disk. Looks enough to get going. What else should we cover? Let's go to the definition of file. Oh yes, I missed the very important property called shared. This property allows sharing the log file with other processes. There are scenarios where multiple applications are using the same file. If you have such scenario, use this property. Next, we also have encoding. You can provide any encoding if you want. Let me use those properties in our demo code. Let's go to program.cs class and type shared : false. I don't want this file to be shared with other processes. Then encoding : system.text.encoding.utf8. Let's get back to the definition. We also have restricted to minimum level. The minimum level for events passed through the sink, ignored when level switch is specified. This is again very important. Let's get back to the program file. Here I use write to section only once, and I didn't use this restricted to minimum level. So it picks minimum level.warning from the top. Now, what if I want a separate log file where the severity is greater than or equal to error? In that case, you can use this feature, restricted to minimum level. Let me just copy and paste this section. Change the file name to criticallogfile.txt. And then restrict it to minimum level, log event level.error. So in this file, logs with severity level error and critical, or you can say fatal in Serilog terms, will be logged. Whereas in my first text log.test, it will contain all logs starting from severity level warning. All right, let's run our application. The application runs successfully. Let's go to the log folder. And here you can see we have two files created. First, let's open critical log file. And you can see it only contains two entries with log level error. And second one is with log level fatal. Serilog uses severity level fatal instead of critical. All right, let's open the second file, my first text log. And it contains three entries starting from warning. I hope you know what severity levels are. If not, please watch our previous videos on this. We already created a detailed video about severity levels. Here we are talking about minimum level. But what about exact level? What if I only want to capture one level and want to ignore others? In that case, we can use file. We have to use the file at logger levels, not at the file level. So type dot filter dot by including only. Then let's say EVT for event such that EVT dot level double equal to log event level dot error. So this logger will only capture error at the top level, and later on our write to method will fetch logs from filtered logs. You can also use by including, by excluding, and by excluding only methods. Also, you can use other comparison operators like not equal to, greater than, equal to, etc. Let me put greater than or equal to event log event level dot warning. Try all these by yourself. I mean, all these combination, it will work. But the problem with this approach is that we still have dependency at minimum level when it comes to write to dot file method. If the top level filter captures all logs, then my first write to dot file method captures severity level greater than or equal to what is specified in restricted to minimum level, or it captures all if we didn't specify anything. So in Serilog, we have a solution for that as well. Let's type dot write to dot logger, then L such that L, then dot filter dot by including only, EVT such that event dot level double equal to log event level dot warning, then dot write to dot file, then give path, so path colon D colon // logs, then sub logger file dot text. Then formatter colon new JSON formatter. I hope you understand this. We create another logger within the main logger because we can apply the filter at logger level only. Let's run our application once again. And let's go to the log folder. And here you can see we have this sublogger file. And if you open it, you can see we only have one log, which is for warning. Simple, extremely simple. In this video, we learned to configure Serilog via code. In our next video, we will learn how to configure Serilog via a configuration file. So that's it from this video. Hope you like our content. If you have any queries related to the content of this video, do ask me in the comments. Until then, thanks for watching.